urged consistently for ICANN to become more global. On October 1st, we signed an affirmation of commitments with the United States Department of Commerce. This affirmation makes us more accountable and transparent to the world. Reviews that were previously conducted and reported to one government alone will now be developed by stakeholders and reported to the world. Because of you, these things changed. We also thank you for advocating international domain names. Last month, after years of work by many parties, we were able to commit to formally launch top-level international domain names for country codes, with a formal application process starting tomorrow, November 16th. As Minister Kamel said, the Internet now speaks Arabic, mashallah. Your voice has been heard, and it is reflected in these important developments. While there are advances, we also know that we all have further to go. Many of you have noted that there are only generic top-level domains in Latin characters such as .com, .net, or .org. They're not yet available international domain names. And many parties around the world have suggested that this is an issue of equity and it should be addressed with opening of GTLDs under the IDM scheme in the future. So again, there have been progress, but we have much more work to do. But you've had an impact in shaping this ecosystem. Now within this ecosystem, how exactly does ICANN fit in? Because ICANN is some things and it's not other things. ICANN has 4 functions. We facilitate and involve the process of international domain names, internet addresses, the domain name system that links those two, and publishing standards of internet protocols and parameters. Let's quickly address each of those 4 functions. Names. There are 182 million registered domain names in the world, under 269 registries. 240 of those are unique countries and territories, such as .eg for Egypt or .jo for Jordan. Those registries contain the domain names and assigned network addresses for all of those 182 million domain names. ICANN maintains a working relationship with 240 countries and territories around the world. Addresses, second area. ICANN is a coordinating authority which allocates blocks of IPv4 and IPv6 addresses to 5 regional internet registries around the world. These address registries have been sub-allocated to the ISPs and other parties. When ICANN started, there were only 3 address registries, but now Africa and Latin America have also been added. Third, the domain name system, or DNS. When you type the domain name into your browser, such as igf.org, how does that get you to their site? How does it actually link your computer there? How's that connection made? It's made through the domain name system, translating that script, igf.org, sending a query to the domain name system. The domain name system returns the precise address of where that web page is at this time, and that your computer can then send a message to the other computer using that network address. This domain name system is quite a masterpiece. Some parties estimate that the domain name system today is handling up to 1 trillion queries and transactions per day. Up to 1 trillion. Those hit the registry, those hit your desktop computers with the DNS caching. They hit the name servers at the ISPs. They'll hit the registries such as .com or .eg or .jo, and all the way down to the root system. So it's quite a marvel of engineering, and it links together the most complex system mankind has ever developed. And that system is, of course, the Internet. Fourth, publishing Internet protocols and parameters. The Internet is held together by hardware and software that adhere to open standards as shared by my colleagues. These are primarily developed by the Internet Engineering Task Force. Many of these standards require the definition of parameters and protocols, such as port 80 on your PC for email communications, for example. ICANN publishes these as a service to the community. The IETF is actively supported by ISOC, led by CEO Lynn Moore, who do an incredible job the secretary for that organization, but valuable research, guidance, and ongoing support. That kind of standards work is also supported by important efforts of Sir Tim Berners-Lee's W3C organization we heard about earlier. So that's what ICANN does. ICANN works on facilitating those four things. We do none of them alone. We do everything together with our partners in the ecosystem, because the internet is this masterful collaboration platform where so many partners come together. While this may sound a bit complex, for the users, it's really easy. It just works, up to 1 trillion times a day. The ultimate benefit is helping people to connect to other people, anytime, anywhere on this planet. And this helps us fulfill our simple mission of one world, one internet, and everyone connected. So I thank you, and we thank you, IGF community, for having advanced these efforts, for having advanced our organization, and we hope that you'll not only live, but evolve and go through very significant evolutions in the coming years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mashallah. Now we're moving to our next speaker, Mr. John Rosadowski, Secretary General, International Chamber of Commerce, ICC. Welcome together, Mr. John.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to say good afternoon and not good evening. On behalf of the International Chamber of Commerce and our initiative, Business Action to Support the Information Society, or BASIS, I would like to begin by thanking the government of our host country, Egypt, particularly Minister Kamel, United Nations Under-Secretary General Shah, and the chair of the Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group, Mr. Nitin Desai. Thank you also to Mr. Marcus Kumar, members of the Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group, and the IGF Secretariat for their tireless efforts organizing this event. I am honored to be here today as a newcomer to the Internet Governance Forum. With a network of local representations in over 120 countries, ICC is the world business organization working on behalf of business everywhere to promote cross-border trade and investment. This year is a particularly special year for ICC as we mark our 90th anniversary of the founding in 1919. ICC was actually created by a group of enlightened business people who called themselves the Merchants of Peace at a critical time in world history when people realized that dialogue was better than war.